welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Values-based investing is commonly confused with ESG-based investing. Chris McMahon, founder and CEO of Aquinas Wealth Advisors, joins me to discuss. Chris, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Jill, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
You got it. What are most clients looking for in the values-based, faith-based investing space?
It's relatively new. What they're looking for the first time is some sanity from their perspective. They see companies kind of taking new positions, much more social activism in their companies that they've invested in for years, and they feel somewhat betrayed. They're saying, I didn't realize the companies that I invested in are taking such bold social initiative actions, some of which are completely contrary to the people of faith's deepest held beliefs. They're saying, wait a second, I'd like a little sanity. I'd like to know what the companies are investing in that I either, as a customer, more importantly, as an investor, I'm investing in. What am I supporting? They want to know what they're supporting and ultimately have alignment with what they're supporting with the companies they invest in.
So how does values-based investing differ from ESG?
It's a good question. ESG and values-based investing are both born in the same place, right? They're born out of compassion, out of helping the downtrodden, out of levelizing the playing field in some way. What's happened along the way is ESG has been embraced on a much larger scale. And for people of faith, unfortunately, it's taken a very dark turn because a significant chunk of the ESG agenda is for people of faith investors, in direct contrast around abortion issues, things like that, and many issues like that for people of faith have driven them to a place where they say, I have to kind of reevaluate where I am, take a step back, and really moving forward, really better understand that every dollar I invest has an impact not only for me as an investor, but secondarily for society as a whole.
Do clients typically see changes in their returns when they transition their portfolios to reflect their values?
Jill, everybody thinks that, right? Even our clients would say, we're willing to, the super values-based people would say, I'm willing to take a lower rate of return because they assume they'll take a lower rate of return in order to make this transition. The vast majority of investors would say, no, I'm really not willing to take a lower rate of return. But it's pretty interesting. If you look, the Christian Investment Forum had done an extensive research a few years ago and found that values-based, faith-based investments actually outperformed in their study each category, each index, each comparable index. So they kind of turned the argument on its head where it said, not only will you not really sacrifice return, it's actually possible in certain scenarios to get higher rates of return, which is good news for those people that are trying to pursue that.
What are the biggest trends currently within values-based and faith-based investing?
It's all technology, Jill. But without technology, it was impossible. People would say they would rely more on the values of our firm, Aquinas Wealth Advisors, does Catholic value investing. People would rely upon their advisor and just hope that they would put them on the right path. They'd say, we share common goals, so I assume our investments would share common goals as well. Because fundamentally, there was no way for a client to investigate whether what the companies they were investing in, what lines of business they were in, or what they were supporting with their social activism. Today, technology has taken over. The screening tools that are available, the incredible amount of dig deep you can do, the artificial intelligence. So it's all about technology, and it's all about empowering the investor. The investor is now empowered. You can find those tools and figure out what they're investing in. It's an exciting time, really.
It is, Chris. It is exciting in a way, and you can see why they're used commonly together, values-based and ESG-based, because I could be talking to someone who's perhaps looking for ESG-based strategies, and you're basically saying the same thing because it does all come back down to technology and the screening tools and the data that's available, which I guess there's buyers and sellers in the market for that reason. But Chris, what would be an example of a values-based or faith-based company within the portfolio or the index you had referenced?
Well, there's a lot of companies. It's very interesting now. There's a lot of companies that I could give you many examples of companies that would be violating those policies. For example, there's a large hospitality company. A very specific example, Jill. Our firm had a client of faith run their faith and finance school, which is our technology, and they came back and said, "My goodness, 15% of my entire portfolio is in the pornography business." They had no idea. One of the big board companies is a hospitality group. It's called it's a CSI Hospitality Group. If you looked at their business model, it was all gentlemen's clubs and pornography production. So for a person of faith, you can imagine that would be very problematic. So they said, geez, I didn't realize that was in my portfolio. And a lot of the large ETFs own that particular security. So they're able to then go back and be empowered to say, should I have that in my portfolio? If not, I always say that America is the greatest country in the world. We can all have our own values met, which is wonderful. For people of faith, this is a great time. Joe, one thing I would mention to you, though, what's happened, as you know, is there's been such mandates for ESG investing. folks that used to just want to be neutral. They'd say, I don't want any values in line with my portfolios because it'll hurt my returns, whether it's ESG or any other. What they didn't realize is that, well, they were kind of asleep at the switch. Some of these more ESG agendas have really impacted the way they're investing. The companies, it's really manipulated companies into actions that are contrary to religious values. And because of that, they didn't know what happened. They were asleep for 10 years. They woke up and said, wait a minute, I just saw the chairman of the company I love and invest in say that they're going to pay $4,000 for someone to travel across state lines if they need, to terminate their pregnancy. And for a person of faith, that would be deeply, deeply troubling. And it seems some of these corporations have been more caught up with the customers and shareholders that would value from that, and as opposed to the people, and it's at least half that would be in opposition to that. Our hope fundamentally is that some of these people take a breath in the corporate boardrooms and say, why don't we back down our social activism? Why don't we pay our dividends back to our shareholders? And why don't we let our shareholders decide what social initiatives to support?
Well, to your point before, fortunately we have those choices that we're able to make.
Absolutely.
And using your dollars to do so has an impact either way. What are some ways to get started with values-based investing?
Couple different ways. There's companies like ours out there. There's certainly values-based mutual funds that you can have. There's actually some services out there you can subscribe to, pay a small fee, and then you can put in every stock that you own, every mutual. It's hard because you won't know all the stocks that are owned in the ETF of the mutual fund, but you can put them, if you had the time, you could do the research. And one of them, I think, is $4 a month of subscription service, and you could slowly go in and pull every security over and have a better feel for it. Also, Jill, what's great, a lot of these services now, ours included at Aquinas, what we'll do is we'll say, here are alternative investments, and a lot of the artificial intelligence do that too. Here are 6 other companies with similar returns and similar businesses, but without some of these objectionable practices that a person of faith might find.
All right, Chris, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks, Jill.